This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Sherlock Jr., a comedy film from 1924, directed by and starring Buster Keaton. It follows Keaton as a young man who's studying detective work when off the clock as a theater projectionist, further hoping one day to marry his girlfriend. This potential career path is troubled when a jealous rival steals a pocket watch from the girl's family, pawning it off for money, and pinning its disappearance on Keaton. He attempts to learn the truth but fails, and despondent, he ends up napping at work, dreaming about how things could have played out if he were the detective he wants to become. The movie is essentially in two parts: the initial scenes of Keaton, his girlfriend, the theft, and the investigation, and the later dream sequences of Keaton as a detective, which in itself could have been a completely separate story. It works out better than it might sound, thanks in part to the simple nature of the two halves, as well as their connective threads, both figurative in the similarity of their stories, and literally in how the two are segued. That segue between the two is in itself an impressive and very much creative feat that plays with cinematic conventions as Keaton, in his dreams, tries to enter the movie being screened, only to end up a victim of the editing process. It's only one such scene, but it speaks a lot to the idea of breaking the fourth wall so relatively soon in film history. That's not to say it wasn't there before, but here it's put to a more explicit and comedic use. In any case, the main through line of the pocket watch theft isn't given much attention overall, with more focus seemingly on Keaton's own actions and stunts. The various gags and stunts throughout Sherlock Jr.'s rather short runtime are also very well thought out and staged, with a greater amount of these occurring in the fantasy story. In a way, it's a further example of how film is able to showcase fantasy better than it can reality, if one compares the few but rather grounded stunts and shot work done in the film's first half. They're still mighty impressive, but they stay relatively close to a realistic course of action, whereas the latter half relies a lot more on these elements to push the story and action along, often ramping up the unbelievability and coincidence as well. The idea of this film as an early celebration of the impossibility of the artistic medium may be a bit of a stretch, but even so, it's clear that the filmmakers want to say something about a form of storytelling that already has so much to offer. Sherlock Jr., Buster Keaton, 1924. 3.5 stars. I'd say to give it a try. It may not be perfect, but its heart is clearly there. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more reviews. I think I said once I was going to read some books between movie screenings. I need to get on that. I need to find some books first, I suppose.